All right, everybody. I do apologize that it took so long. My internet took 3 tries to reset before it would actually give me a goddamn connection. Hashtag Go Time Warner or Spectrum or whatever the fuck it's called now. All right, but anyway, we are way overdue to crack into our discussion of The Disappointments Room on Netflix. So why don't we go ahead and Dan, since this is your show, Netflix and Swill, we're going to go ahead and kick things over to you to get started.
His show. Cautionary Tales of Netflix, where Netflix and Swill, 1-star movies are terrible. They make you want to gouge your fucking eyes out. And that's what this show is all about, warning people about the dangers of shitty movies. There's my soundbite that I did just now. We're talking about The Disappointments Room, starring Kate Beckinsale and nobody else you've ever seen except unless you've seen like Havoc and remember him from the X-Men movies. He's also in this movie.
No, Raymond Tusk is in this movie.
Raymond Tusk is also in this movie. No one knows his actual real actor's name. He is just
Gerald McRaney, but okay.
Nope. He doesn't have a real name. Fuck. So, The Disappointments Room. Where to fucking even start with this pile of shit? Like, Jesus Christ. Steve Izzy, you guys have never really done a 1-star segment, so I would love for you guys to just start. Give us some initial thoughts on The Disappointments Room. And then we'll start getting into some specifics here.
Well, so for the longest time, I've had this idea about a horror movie where nothing really happens. It's just like all the intense music and maybe a couple jump scares and stuff thrown in, but just the lighting and everything's the same.
Yeah.
And then I watched this movie and was like, oh shit, somebody beat me to it. That was basically my synopsis of this movie. Like there's only one part we can wait, spoiler alerts or whatever, where I was like, oh, maybe this isn't exactly what I thought it was. But that was like started of the third act, I think, before that even came up. I don't know. Izzy?
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed the Belgian Shepherd they had playing the German Shepherd.
That is a beautiful dog.
Beautiful animal.
Beautiful dog.
And I went to snuggle his little face before he ate my face off. So I was pretty much enthralled with the cute animals. So this movie gets like 2 thumbs up for me.
Oh, perfect.
Even when the puppy, spoiler alert, ate the kitty.
How about you, Dan?
So Steve, I've actually watched something that you described, something that does jump scares and like isn't really scary and doesn't really do anything. It's called The House is October Built, and the House is October Built, really quick, is just an hour and a half movie of a bunch of people going to haunted houses, and they're trying to find a scary haunted house. Well, I thought at some point they were going to go to a haunted house and they would get like fucked up and killed by like people going like all out. No, turns out that never happened.
Yeah.
They just went to a super scary haunted house and that was it. And like, so for me, I got that.
We actually saw a preview for that the other day watching Wolf Cop.
It's terrible. It's so horribly
Wolf Cop
boring.
is great though.
We're sold. You don't have to sell us more on this. Like, we're excited.
Yeah. So
you guys do realize our cat's name is Castor Troy, right?
Game over.
So for me, watching this with Nick, it was just like, man, this is everything you hate in a horror movie, all encapsulated into a horror movie. Like it was just everything was wrong about it. Everything they could possibly do wrong with this movie, they did it. And I just can't believe someone actually made this movie. So Nick, we'll move over to you finally.
Get it. Y'all are mad about a woman being the breadwinner in the family. I get it.
Yeah, that is you're right. That is it. That's exactly what it is. So Nick, I'll go to you for initial thoughts.
Dad, you guys are jealous. I get it, but it's a different time now.
Sweetie, stop that.
That's Nick's initial thoughts right there. But yeah, no, Nick, initial thoughts on fucking this piece of shit.
Well.
Wrong! Now shut the fuck up and let me do my job.
Stop it, you weed, you baby! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
This is the biggest fucking piece of shit on the planet. I swear to Christ.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Dan, whatever the actor's name was, we tried to figure out what it was last night when we were watching the movie, and then we forgot, and I don't feel like looking it up, but the actor that played the husband is, without a doubt, the worst actor I've ever fucking seen in a motion picture. He is atrocious, and Kate Beckinsale, most of the time that she's on screen, looks horrified that she has to share screen time with this fucking waste of flesh and
No, you
space.
guys are inferring she had a look on her face.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's true. The plot of this thing, this film apparently was written by Wentworth Miller on breaks on the Prison Break set, and it's literally, I swear to God, I said this earlier when we were talking about movies, but it feels like he watched The Babadook, which Dan and Caleb didn't like. I enjoyed it, but it feels like he watched The Babadook and said, I can make a way shittier version of this. I mean, essentially, spoiler alert, everything's in her fucking head, and me and Dan telegraphed it literally from about 10 minutes into the movie. We're like, yep, this is exactly what happens. It's got the most basic, simplistic plot for this kind of a horror thriller ever. It's just atrociously shit.
The only point where I even questioned anything was when Havoc hung himself or whatever in the forest.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was it too.
Maybe something else is going on. I was like, oh no, it might just be a shitty device in the movie or something. But yeah, that was like the only point where I was like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, it was at the point where you see her grab her medication and dump it down the toilet. It's like, all right, she's off her meds. That's really what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, once you saw Havoc hanging, it was like, oh shit, maybe this isn't in her head. And then you realize, oh no, she really is just insane.
Oh my God. It's
a crazy waste of a time.
And the funny thing about it is like, it doesn't even set up whether or not she's hallucinating anything or not. It just goes on this rambling, like when the dog attacks the little boy, quote unquote, like it's this rapid fire series of cuts between her running down the longest spiral staircase on the planet. And like, it just this rapid fire cut back and forth, but like, there's no, it's like they a lot of the jump cuts in this and a lot of the scenes in this are really designed to just try to evoke some kind of response out of the audience member if you have zero brain cells and have never seen a horror movie or a thriller movie before. And even if you hadn't ever seen one of them, I still think you'd watch this and you'd be like, there's no fucking way Kate Beckinsale would ever let that dude put his dick in her. Right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
And not only that, but his American accent was just off. And I just like, this is going to come off as like, what is it? Zionistic? Is that one? Like, or I'm sorry, nationalistic. That's it. Why don't you just get two Americans to play two Americans? I'm sorry, but like, there's no reason to have
that was a little baffling
British
to
man
me.
who can't fucking do like a New Yorker accent. Be a New Yorker. Like, just let him not be a New Yorker, or I don't know, get an American person who can do a better job than this.
We immediately started looking into like, oh, where is this guy from? Is he French? Is he Spanish? I think he was Spanish and Greek or something when we IMDb'd him. I was like, where's this guy from? Because he's obviously not from America.
Yeah.
So I think where I enjoyed this movie and wasn't as angry at it as you guys was, I am a huge horror movie fan, particularly like monster and ghost movies are definitely my thing, thrillers. And I started watching this and was like, oh, this is what a dumb person thinks a horror movie is.
It really is. It really is. Like, there are way smarter horror movies that are done way better than this. Like, come on.
Absolutely. This is a dumb guy trying to mimic a horror movie. And so when you watch it that way, you get less angered by it.
Yeah, that's a perfect description of it. It really feels like, I swear to God, it feels like somebody watched a horror movie and then they were like, I can make a shittier version of that. That's what I keep going back to, because that's really what it feels like.
Well,
it's
I mean, speaking of that, let's look at the kid for a second. Look at his haircut. Look at his look. He looked like the kid from The Shining, and I really feel like that was on purpose, because they were just like, hey, let's draw from The Shining and make it feel like, oh man, is it all in the mom's head? Is she gonna try to kill the kid? I don't know. Who knows? Like, it's just a shittier version of The Shining.
You know what would have saved the movie for me? Not to be ridiculously morbid, but you know what would have saved the movie for me?
You hate The Shining?
I hate The Shining. It is an extremely boring movie until the 20 minutes.
Good for you.
You know what would have saved this movie for me? What would have saved this movie for me is when we get to the very end and she's having the freak out and she's having the hallucination that she's bashing in Gerald McRaney, Raymond Tusk's head. You know, when they do the reveal that she's bashing in the pillows, if she really would have been bashing her kid's head in, it's not that I want to see the kid die, but it would have at least been like that shock factor that like, oh my God, they went there, and like it would have been like cool. But No, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. This movie has no balls. They take zero risk.
It's very safe
And that
in
would have
terms
been
of a horror
huge
thriller.
risk
Yes.
that would. Yeah. And them killing the kid at the end would have been a huge risk that would have paid off. Because it would have been like, holy shit, that's what this is about.
There's consequences. No, I don't know. Except for the gardener hanging himself. I'm still curious, like, whether he really hung himself or not. That's
He didn't.
really...
Remember, she went out and
He
wasn't
did
there.
not. He did not.
He did
No,
not.
she
That was all
hallucinated
her-
that.
He turned into a vampire, went to go play baseball out in the field.
That's right. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
2 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking like 3, maybe. Yeah, because, I mean, it's beautifully shot, but horribly executed. That
I thought it was
kinda where I
terribly
was with
shot.
it.
I hated
Oh
the
no,
shot
it was
composition in
terribly
this film.
shot. Oh my god.
Ugh. Like, I think he accidentally had a couple shots that ended up framed well, and that's about all I'll give him credit for.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, there were a couple scenes in there where it's like, why are we sticking on this for so long? I don't get it.
Because it looks good in a Pinterest click.
Yeah, right?
Izzy, let's move over to you.
Beautiful.
Izzy, let's move over to you for your final rating on the
What's your
disappointment.
review?
My review of the disappointment rating?
Yeah,
No,
like
your
one
final
out of
rating. Your final rating on it.
Ooh, my final rating.
9 out of 10.
Let's see. 9 out of 10? Is that really? No. That's not what I'm going to go for on this movie. No, but I'm going to go for a 3. There are much worse movies.
Ooh, Jared Taylor with a $25 donation. Thank you very much, Jared.
Woo-hoo!
With the message,
For
fist
Jared.
yourself, Dan.
Woo!
Gracias,
But yeah,
Saldi.
I'm going to go... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you guys have not seen a bad movie until you've seen Bucky Larson, Born to be a Porn Star, in which case all other movies get moved up an extra star.
No, I've seen Alien Invasion. I can tell you there are worse movies.
Oh, yeah. I think that's streaming on Netflix too, sweetie. Yeah.
Hey.
You.
Yeah.
Did we get a rating there? I didn't hear a rating.
Steve and I are about to...
I think it was like 3. I think she said
Oh, yeah,
3
it's a 3
again.
out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nick, we'll go to
Can you
you.
guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, here you go, Dan. This is it.
0.0.
This movie was so fucking terrible. I hated this movie.
Hero.
It is a terrible, terrible movie. Like, literally, I'm going to give it the lowest possible rating I can, which is a 1 star on this segment, just because it's the Netflix and Swill segment. But yeah, there's literally, I found absolutely nothing redeeming about this. Everything about it is bad. Literally everything.
All right, and for me, it is also a 1-star movie. I don't normally remark on like shot composition and that kind of shit, but the shot composition for most of this movie is terrible.
Well, we were horrified when we watched it yesterday.
There are occasionally a good shot. I'm talking like maybe 10%.
You know what? I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back, Dan. I'm going to take it back. I was terrified of one thing during this movie: the shot composition and the performances.
Yeah.
If that was what they set out to do, then man, 10 out of 10, baby.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh
It's
my
bad.
god!
It's a bad movie. No one in this movie acts well. It's not even like a fun bad movie like Cowboys versus Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's just there.
All
It just
right.
exists and it's bad.
Well, go ahead and roll us out, Dan.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah,
help
it's pretty
too
bad.
that Kate Beckinsale just mails in her entire performance. She looked like she
If
was
you
just
had to
like,
share
She
screen
doesn't
time
know
with that
how to
dude.
act. She doesn't know how. She doesn't mail anything.
Yep.
She's never used the United States Postal Service in her life. She doesn't know how to act. Just get over it. She sucks.
well, duh. She uses the British mail system.
If you had to share screen time with that dude, you wouldn't be able to act either. He was god awful terrible.
Yeah, I can see her just like look at the director like, do we want to start another take already, or do we just want to keep going with it? Because I don't know what he just said.
We don't do second takes.
Hang him! Kill him! Hang him! Hit him! Daddy's gonna spank you with the belt now.
When faced with a shitty movie, just remember the 3 Ds. Dumb, as in what you'll be after you watch a shitty movie. Dipshit, as in what your friends and family will call you after watching a shitty movie. Don't watch this fucking movie. No, there's a lot of shitty movies out there and a lot of stories about how bad they are. So this is not a one-off. We've been Netflix and Swill. Goodbye.